In this video, we're going to take a look at some specific R packages that we're going to use throughout this course, and I'm going to show you how to get them installed on your device and how to properly load them when the time comes that you need to use them. So just a reminder from the last video, so packages are basically just kind of like a collection of code that just aims to simplify things a little bit. So packages themselves, they're not really absolutely essential. You can do anything that you can do in a package. You could do it just in base R if you know how to code it properly, but they're just going to make our lives a little bit easier. So you might not even need them on homework problems too much, but they will be used for demonstrations in the lectures a lot, and it'll be good to download them on your device so that you can follow along and run the code yourself. So these are the three main ones that will show up in the lectures. There's one other one that I do want to mention that is pretty popular that might be useful to download. It's called DPLYR. So you can just look at that on the CRAN website and it'll have information on that. It wouldn't hurt to just go ahead and download that one as well. But I'm going to focus on these three up here. So Lattice and Mosaic. These ones are, so Lattice is kind of like a data visualization tool, and Mosaic just has some functions that'll kind of simplify some things, such as like different ways to manipulate data, things like that. And then TigerStats has some useful functions in there called, they call them applets. So they're just like little apps inside of RStudio basically. That'll help us, for example, like when we run some simulations, it has some nice little functions that can help us with that. So things like that. So Lattice and Mosaic, these are going to be pretty straightforward to install. So, I mean, we could just go ahead and do, and something might go wrong when I do this. You might need to, sometimes you need to install other things before you are able to install whatever it is, whatever package you're trying to install. And it should just do it for us. But if there's some weird case, like the package that it needs is no longer on CRAN, for example, then we would need to manually install that. So let's just go ahead and install the Lattice and Mosaic packages, and hopefully everything just goes well. So we're getting that RTools warning again. That's fine. It installs it for us. Oh, and it's already done. I thought it was still running. So yeah, it looks like that was super quick. So let's go ahead and load those. So when you load them with the require function, you don't need the quotes around it. You do need quotes around it when you're doing install packages or most other times, honestly. So Mosaic. Okay, so those are both going to be loaded here. So this is an interesting warning here. It says that the following objects are masked from other packages that I have. So like ggplot2, for example, has a stat function, and Mosaic also has a stat function. So basically, R is not going to know which one to use. I think it'll default to the ggplot2, which is why it's telling us that it's masked in Mosaic. So basically, to get around that, I mean, you would just want to, when you're doing the command, you can specify which package you want to use it from. So basically, you would just use a double colon there. So Mosaic, and then what's the function stat, and then that'll allow you to use the stat function specifically from Mosaic instead of ggplot2. So if we use the help window here, you can see it shows that, hey, there's one in Mosaic and also there's one in ggplot2. Which one are you looking for, right? So we can look at in Mosaic, it extracts confidence intervals, test statistics, or p-values from each test object. So if we want to do that, again, instead of using the stat function as is, we would just do Mosaic double colon stat, and then we can use that function from Mosaic. Or you could do the same thing with ggplot2 if you want to use it from that. Okay, so these ones are fine, no problem. So Tiger Stats, this actually happened very recently, as of the recording here, that this one was archived, and that'll happen sometimes with packages, especially more niche ones. I don't think this one was very niche, but for whatever reason, they're not updating it anymore, so it's not going to be hosted on CRAN anymore. So you can see what it says right here. So the RTools thing, you can just ignore that. So package Tiger Stats is not available for this version of R because it's only available for old versions, basically, because it was archived. That's fine, though. It's still going to work. So all we need to do is go get it manually. Okay, so I just pulled up on my Bing window here, and we can be on the CRAN. So I just searched for Tiger Stats package. You see on the CRAN website, package Tiger Stats was removed. Formerly available versions can be obtained from the archive. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and go there, and then we're going to grab the most recent version. So it's actually been a while since this one was updated. So 2016. Oh, right, there's one in 2020 as well. So we'll grab that one actually. But still, it's not frequently updated, which means it works fine. It means that there could be a future version of R where this is, you know, something updates, now the package no longer works. But as of right now, we're still okay. So we're going to go ahead and download this. And this is mostly just used for demonstrations and stuff, you know, in simulations. So it's not absolutely essential, but it's still going to be nice to have here. Okay, so so I downloaded the file here. So now we're going to go ahead and look at that there. So one thing to keep in mind here. So when we go to install the packages, so we're going to install it from a package archive, right? So so we should just be able to, I don't even think we need to move it then. So we can just grab it and it should be fine. Now, one thing that this does mean, since we're installing it from a package, or we're installing it from a zip file instead of from the CRAN directory, it's not going to automatically install the dependencies, meaning the other packages that it needs to function. So we're going to have to install those ones manually. So let's go ahead and do that. So it actually is just giving us the function we need here. So it tells us that we need the dependencies ABD and manipulate. So these are two packages that we need to have installed, basically. So we can just go ahead and take this package here, this function here, and we can just go ahead and run that, and then it should be fine. So everything was installed correctly, it looks like. So now we can just go ahead and run that same function again, that original one that failed. So you can just go ahead and press the up arrow on your keypad, and it'll just kind of go through the previous commands. So we can just run this again, or you can go back doing it through the menu again. And now we should be good because we have all the dependencies installed. Now you might have more dependencies that you need to install because they might have already been installed on my computer. So you can see actually the ones that it's needing. Lattice, Mosaic, we already installed those ones. ABD and the manipulate package doesn't look like that one actually came up, but it told us we needed that one, so we went ahead and did that. And it looks like that is everything. So now it should be good. So now we can go ahead and load it. And it'll be useful for not just Tiger Stats, but you know, if you ever come across a package that you want to use, you know, this is what you'll do. So like one that's not on CRAN anymore. So it also needs the package NLME, it looks like. But it looks like it was loaded now, so we should be good. So we can go ahead and look at package Tiger Stats, or I'm sorry, list package Tiger Stats, I should say. So we can see everything that's in here. Sorry, we don't need the double colon on this one, just a single colon. So it should be list quotes package Tiger Stats with just one colon. So then it'll show us everything that's in there. So you can see, and it doesn't say what these are. Some of them might be functions, some of them might be like data sets. So you can explore those. You can look in here too. So the check mark tells us that it's loaded. Okay, so you can see different things here. So like Verlander, Justin Verlander. So it looks like this is a data frame. So this one's not a function. It also will have some data sets built in to the different packages that you can play around with there. So yeah, and then there's mean sampler. I know we'll use this one later. This will kind of let us run some simulations when we look at stuff like the central limit theorem, for example. So yeah, so that is how we download the most frequently used packages in this course. So if anybody is having any trouble with this, especially because the one package is downloaded from a zip file now instead of from the CRAN repository, please just let us know. So, we can go ahead and get that updated or figure out a workaround or whatever we need to do with that.